Hey guys, and welcome back. We're playing My Sweet Housemate. This game has like so many good reviews. As you can tell, there's going to be some content that may not be cozy. I'll try to remember to link all of the bad things in the description, and also please play the game for yourself. I don't remember what this game is about truly, but the boy on the cover is hot, so he's my type. Glasses, tall, murdering people. Very good. If you don't know who I am, my name is Mary Roses. I play video games. Let's get started. I'm not wearing makeup today. My face feels so nice. I didn't want to ruin it. Though I do have a pimple right here. In-house listing. Okay. Alright. Room. Okay. Ooh, it's so bright in here. One room in an apartment at 3, no deposit, 1 year tenancy. Submit an application. That's cute. Wait, let me change my name. Woo. Is this my voice? I guess we'll see. Submit an application. If it's their voice, we'll change it. You tiredly wait for the application to go through before you shut your old laptop with a sigh. This ancient thing, that has clearly seen better days, somehow already managed to start hyperventilating after you opened it just a couple of tabs. You promptly put in your backpack as you lean back in your seat. I gotta stop doing that. You can't help but let out a sour chuckle. Anyone else would probably find this old, worn-down diner seat extremely uncomfortable. But you don't have that luxury of complaining. In fact, it might be the softest thing you sat on in a week. Unaware of your own actions, you start anxiously fidgeting with your phone, silently praying to all possible gods out there that your application will be approved. 9, 10. At this point, you've been homeless for 11 months, nearly a year. Bro, being homeless sucks. I have been homeless. It sucks. After saving all the money you could for several months, you finally were able to save enough to rent an apartment. Or at least that's what you thought. In 11 months of your homelessness, the housing prices only went up, making it practically impossible for you to find anything affordable at this point. You frantically searched every housing website, hoping to at least get some shitty old room, but nothing was ever even nearly in your price range. But this listing was everything you could ever ask for. You were thanking whoever was up there in the sky, or down there in the pits of hell, that he managed to apply basically minutes after the listing went live. Sure, it's shady as hell. No deposit, no required credit history. There aren't even any pictures, and as a cherry on top, you'll have to live with some random guy you have no information about. I would never do that. I would sleep outside still. It's crazy. You were so eager to get it first, too, that you didn't even ask for a tour. If anything, you're almost entirely sure it's probably some old shed or, even worse, a human trafficking trap. Yeah, that's why. This is so scary. But you are already at the point where you don't even care. You feel like you'll go insane if you have to spend another night out on the streets. You shudder at the memories. Yeah, anything is better than that. You could swear your heart skips a beat on your phone as your phone lights up with a new notification on the home screen. It's an email from the housing website. Could it be? You impatiently unlock your phone, somehow managing to enter your password incorrectly twice before you do. You quickly locate the email app and anxiously start reading. Thank you for your application, Rose. We appreciate you using our service, and our smart algorithm has picked these 5 other apartments for you to look at. Are you kidding me? I just applied and already got an ad. You silently cursed the website, thinking that it would have been better if they paid for your rent instead of financing these ads that no one probably even looks at. Well, besides you. While busy with your grandiose brain cursing session, you almost skip another notification that quickly floats to the phone screen. It's yet another email. I swear to God, if it's another ad, but it isn't. It's an email sent by whoever has posted that room listing. The first thing you notice is its ridiculous length. It's short. Too short. In fact, there are only 3 lines, 2 of them being Dear Rose, and Suang Min Kim, the name of the original poster. The middle line just says, if you come to the apartment to sign the contract within 30 minutes, I'll give you the key. Now you're entirely sure that your heart is skipping at least 30 beats a minute. You immediately spring from a seat, grabbing your backpack on the way, before your attention is caught by a sad, Small cup of unfinished coffee on the table. Squeezing your lips with a rising guilt, you quickly grab and drink the cold remnants before putting it back down and storming out of the diner. Will this finally be the day that ends your homeless life for good? You find yourself in front of an apartment door, trying to catch your breath. You don't particularly know how to, but you somehow manage to make it in time. However, now that you aren't even sure that you are in front of the correct apartment in the first place, you were fully expecting some shady and old building, but it turned out to be just some average apartment complex. Something you could probably never even dream of affording in your current state. You hesitate for a good minute before letting out an anxious sigh, pressing the doorbell button. You hear the ordinary buzz sound play on the other side of the door, and then complete silence. That silence gets quickly interrupted, though, as you hear some faint footsteps sounds behind them. The door is open. You jolt as the sound of a man's voice comes from within the apartment, but almost instinctively push the door open. Still hesitant, you awkwardly step into the entrance. As you walk in, you almost immediately get taken aback by your surroundings. You've replayed so many made-up horror scenarios in your head on your way here that the sight of an ordinary-looking hallway suddenly seems scarier than anything you could ever have come up with. There's no one in sight, so you just default to a polite stance in front of the entrance door, not even daring to make a single step. Now that you're actually in the apartment, and now that you confirmed that it looks more or less normal, your anxiety levels are going through the roof. You have to make a good impression. You won't have another chance like this. Rose, I assume. My kind of guy. You almost jump as a tall, slouched man suddenly appears in one of the doorways of the hallway you were in. You don't immediately realize that he's dressed in a suit because of how disheveled and scruffy he appears to be. Albeit, you're not in any position to judge. His eye bags almost seem to merge with his dark eyes as he tirelessly looks straight at you. If your eyesight was just a bit worse, you would have even thought he just had two big holes for eyes, given how pale his skin is otherwise. Dumbfounded, you stare back at him, thinking that this eye contact is going on for a bit too long for your taste. Before you realize that it's your cue to respond, you dummy. Hey, Captain. Yes, that's me. And you're Mr. Kim, if I'm not wrong. You're not, but it just Sueng Min is fine. Now, if you don't mind, I'll be late for work if we don't hurry, so if you just follow me to the kitchen. The man then wastes no time as he promptly walks into the kitchen, and you are left with no choice but to follow him in. You step into the... God, bright. You step into the kitchen and once again get temporarily stunned by just how normal everything looks. Sure, you can tell that someone lives here by small stains and patches of dust here and there, but if you had to choose, you'd happily use the space to take some photos for online housing ads or something. Speaking of photos, you thank heavens for the millionth time today. If Seung Min put up pictures of his apartment, it would have gotten snatched before you could even reply. You don't know if that's what was just pure laziness or simple lack of time, but you couldn't feel more grateful to the man in front of you for leaving the listing so empty. But you shouldn't feel grateful just yet. You still haven't signed the contract. Now if you just look through the papers and sign at the places I marked. Huh? The papers on the table. The contract. Wait, is that it? That can't be it, right? He won't even ask for any additional information? But if you're concerned about the rent, the payment is obviously up front, but we can go through that in the evening. If I stay any longer, I will probably get fired for being late. You're free to move your stuff and unpack, though. But if you're not interested, that's fine too, but then I'd appreciate it if you... No, I'll sign it, I'm interested. Wow, you're an eager one, aren't you? Right. Clearly this man is not at all too concerned about who his new flatmate will be. If he was, he wouldn't have put up an empty listing and responded to a random application within minutes of receiving it. My skin looks so terrible and orange. You can't even afford to care about his reasons at this point. It's a good apartment, the rent is something you can afford, and the only tenant doesn't look at all too crazy. You quickly grab the papers, messily scattering around the table with slightly trembling hands, as you then read through them. After making sure that it really isn't some part of a human trafficking ring, you take the pen laying around on the table and find the marked spot Suen Min mentioned. I know I'm not saying that right, I am so sorry. Morose. After you sign, you audibly breathe out before handing the papers to Seung-min. It's gotta be that, Seung-min. He quickly goes through them and then nods at you. I can choke on his name, it's fine. I don't mind. I am embarrassed that I can never read names. Great. Your room is the one opposite of the bathroom. It's to the right of the kitchen. That should be it for now. Right. The man in front of you fills around in his pockets for a brief second before putting his hands into one and then taking something out. He fumbles with the item for a moment before he finally gets a firm grip on it. He is definitely clumsy, to say the least. Here's the key. Just don't lose it. Got an item! Your hands seem to shake even more as Seung-min puts a simple metallic key into them. I won't. That would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, we will handle the payments later. I should get going. Right. Lock the door after me? Yeah. Yes, of course. Right. You try to shake off your stupor. You still can't believe that you're officially not homeless anymore. Still somewhat stupefied, you follow Seung-min back to the entrance, where he proceeds to put his shoes on, shoes that look as scruffy as he is, and then stands straight in front of the door. As straight as his slouch back allows him to, anyways. Just make sure to lock it properly, and don't let strangers in. I'm not a kid. I at least know this much. Right. Well, I will see you in the evening. I'll be happy to have you for dinner. With that, Seung-min leaves through the entrance door, nearly tripping over the welcome mat. Again, happens every time. After Seung-min disappears down the hallway, you waste no time as you shut it and lock the door. Such a simple motion, and it feels so foreign to you. While on different levels, you are now also a resident of this apartment. You own a key, you can lock the door, you can sleep in your own room. So simple, yet so foreign. You squeeze the key that's already made home in your palm and can't help but let a nervous smile curl your lips. I did it. I really did. Still overcome with a mix of relief and excitement, you locate your room that, just like Seung-min said, is opposed of his bathroom. Of the bathroom. God. You walk through a simple door into a bedroom that appears to be just as simple. You're surprised to find that it's actually fully furnished, bed and desk included. At this point, you wouldn't even mind sleeping on the floor, but seeing how the bed even has its own bed sheets, you almost tear up. This is a dream. I will be so pissed. But it isn't, and you can hardly believe it. Well, I guess I might as well unpack. The only good thing about being homeless is that besides the backpack always glued to your shoulders, you have no other things. You take it off and start going through your carefully packed stuff. Unpacking time. This is cute. Toothbrush, bathroom, phone, bedroom. I don't know what that is. Kitchen. World's driest shampoo. Kitchen. Anti-stink. Bathroom. Multi-gummies. Bathroom. Bedroom. Bedroom? The red was intense. Nice. Success! Oh, we got an achievement. Unpack your things. Finally done with putting your things away, you turn towards your new bed and look down at it with rising temptation. No longer able to resist, you let yourself fall into the fresh bed sheets. So soft, and all yours. You rub your face against the pillow with a smile. So, when I was homeless, it was sucked, and then I became unhomeless, and then I lost housing, like, right after. It was, like, I don't know, a month later. But that time, I told my partner, I was like, I'm going to be homeless, and we could break up. It's a lot of drama. We just started dating, like, whatever. And they moved me into their parents' house with them. And their bed was so nice. And I remember that. Like, it was, like, so huge and plush, and it was tall. I had to, like, jump into it. Oh, it was amazing. It feels like the luck you've accumulated throughout the year was all poured into this one day. Who knows? Maybe in the future, you'll even be able to rent an apartment of your own. Everything seems possible now. It really does. That's how I felt. You don't notice how your eyelids start feeling heavier and heavier, and by the time you realize and open your eyes, a few minutes have already passed. Luckily, though, you don't have a shift today. Might as well take a nap. A really lucky day, huh? Left with no energy to even think, you let yourself fall into a deep slumber. Oh, it's a time. I thought it was a food. When you open your eyes again, it's already dark outside. Feeling strangely satisfied and refreshed, you stretch and slowly sit up. God, I haven't slept this good in a long time. Oh, shit. Right. This young Min said that you'd sort out the rent payment in the evening, and even offered to have dinner together. Free food. Crap, but this is not what's important right now. You feel a sense of anxiety build up in your throat as you check the time on your phone. 10:27 p.m. Crap! While you silently curse yourself for being so careless, you get off the bed and start unconsciously walking back and forth. I mean, if you really cared, he would have woken me up, right? It's not like you locked the room or anything. Speaking of that, is he even home? You cautiously tiptoe towards the door and quietly put your ear against it, trying to see if you can catch any sounds. He's here. You can clearly make out some footstep sounds and moving noises coming from the outside of your room. Great. Wonderful. You're not getting kicked out just yet. Maybe the dinner offer's still on the table, too. Not wanting to wait any longer, you swing the door open and walk into the hallway. Surprisingly, the hallway looks really different when it's dark. It almost has this new feel to it. Very different from the plastic perfect filming set you've witnessed earlier. You don't spend much time mulling over the percentage of the hallway, the perception of the hallway, though, as your attention is caught by the light coming from the kitchen. The sounds are coming from there, too. You don't have to be Sherlock to deduce that Shuang Min is in there. So, not wasting any time, you walk towards the light. Wait. What? This can't be. Whew. Okay. What the hell? Oh. Hey. This can't be that, right? Come on, Rose. You're not stupid. There has to be an explanation. Right. That's... hyperrealistic cake. You know, like in those videos where everything is cake. Those are all cakes, right? No, these are real human body parts. Oh, come on. You were supposed to agree with me. Oh, sorry. This is just a weird looking pig. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. Shit. And you just started thinking you're lucked out with this apartment. What is he? A serial murderer? A cannibal? A serial cannibal? No, wait, that's wrong. A cannibal serial? If you're thinking about calling the police, I'd advise you against it. Of course you're calling the police. Next thing you'll know, it'll be your leg he has on that cutting board. You just got out of homelessness and you're not about to die to some cannibal, serial murderer in a pink apron now. You do understand that if I get arrested, you will no longer be able to stay here, right? Do you read thoughts, too? I don't. How do you know I want to stay here anyways? Just so you know, Mr. Swungman, I have a grandma I can stay with at any time. No, you don't, Miss Rose. And even if you do, you probably hate her enough to apply to a brand new suspicious listing and sign the contract all in the same day. So you did it on purpose? Well, something like that. I'm not going to call the police because he's hot. No, he's right, and hot. There's nowhere else you can go now, and your only choice would be to return to homelessness. It'd be silly to think police would help you with your situation, too. Man, what the hell? This... Are you gonna eat it? Yes. Yes, it's too much meat, though, so I'm just gonna store it for the future. I don't get such tender meat often. It would be a pity if it went to waste. Ugh. This wasn't the dinner he was talking about, was it? What are you even supposed to do now? Do you really have to tolerate a cannibal living literally in the same apartment as you? But the life on the streets, the feeling of your skin being so dirty that no matter how hard you scrub it, nothing makes you feel clean. The long nights spent dumpster diving, going through pounds of discarded food just to be chased away by minimum wage employees that, in retrospect, are in no better situation than your own. You shudder at the memories. I always had a job that fed me. That's... Man, if you are struggling, I always recommend working at a restaurant. They will always feed you. I do not take it for granted. All of my worst times, my job always fed me. Listen, Yes. Shit. Whatever. Anything's better than going back there at this point. If they catch you, don't involve me. And, like, don't eat me? Dill. It might take a while, and as you can see, it's really messy. So let's talk about your payment tomorrow. Yeah, I could see that. You got a little something, well, everywhere. Oopsies. I didn't realize. I guess I'll have to come up with another explanation for the dry cleaners. Last time they didn't fully believe it's just paint excuse. Why are suits such pain? Right. Well, you probably better go to sleep. Unless you want to watch. No. No thanks. Well, see you tomorrow then? Yeah. Good night, my new housemate. Don't forget that I know where you sleep. We literally live in the same apartment. Why wouldn't you? Just thought I should remind you. Right. I'm leaving now. I'm going this way and you're going to stay here. Good night, Rose. You feel like you won't be able to sleep tonight. But surprisingly, you zonk out pretty quickly. New art? The next few days, you are still overcome with a faint sense of panic, afraid that Swang Ming will eat you, or, even worse, the police finds him and you will have to go back to the streets. But contrary to your fears, nothing really happens. In fact, after handling the first rent payment and enduring Shuang Min's awkward attempts at thanking you, you don't even see him all that much. Regardless of how under-socialized he seems, he's fairly polite when you do encounter him. Shuang Min seems to work some pretty brutal hours at his office job. Your apartment is basically a ghost town half the time. You wouldn't be surprised if there were literal ghosts haunting this place, considering all the bodies piled up around here. You're lucky that your shifts usually start in the early morning and end somewhere during the daytime or evening, unlike Shuang Min's grueling schedule. At first, you thought that you'd at least cross paths with him in the afternoons, but as it turns out, he typically comes home rather late at night. It's unlikely that your housemate is getting his full 8 hours of beauty sleep. 3 weeks pass by without you noticing, and still, you can count the amount of times you crossed paths with Shuang Min on your one hand. Those few times that you did see him, you could feel his gaze linger on you. You're not sure what that is about, but even when he is not around, you can still feel his eyes lapping at your skin. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night to the sounds coming from the kitchen, which your imagination twists into the sickest imagery. But that aside, you really have nothing to complain about. You can't be more grateful to have a solid roof above your head and somewhere to return to after work every day. Some form of steady housing really does change your life for the better. You don't have to worry about where to sleep every single night, about not being able to shower when you want, about the chance of getting robbed if you're not careful enough, about having some privacy, and so on. You hate to admit it, but you really don't regret staying here even a bit. You condemn what Shuang Min does, but considering you're not really exposed to it anyway, even the constant dread of being butchered or kicked out if he's ever found out slowly leaves your mind. Despite how absolutely worn out Shuang Min appears to be, he is very mindful about the cleanliness of your common spaces. Surprisingly, even your funds start looking better now that you're able to take on more hours and leech off Shuang Min's Wi-Fi. Hell, you even started considering getting a second job. Everything seems almost too good to be true. What the? A loud sound coming from somewhere within the apartment suddenly pulls you out of your deep slumber. The hands. Turn. Did something fall? Or even worse, someone? An image of Shuang Min dragging a new corpse into the apartment suddenly pops in your head. Ugh. But what if something happened? You spend a couple of minutes sleepily contemplating if you'd rather the sound be a corpse about to be devoured by your landlord or the very same landlord collapsing on the floor. Ugh, whatever. If it's a corpse, I'll just pretend it's hyper-realistic cake. Yeah, cake. As you step into the hallway, you quickly realize you weren't worried for no reason. Your housemate is on the floor, looking as if he has collapsed a few minutes prior. And you guess that's what probably happened, too. You waste no time and quickly walk up to him. Hey. Hello. Hey. No need to yell. Finally. Good morning. USA, what happened? You okay? I wanted to shower, but I'm too tired. And hungry. Now that he mentions it, you do realize that the man in front of you smells badly. Awfully. You might even say abhorrently. Your thesaurus session of listing synonyms, antonyms and synonyms for the word bad gets interrupted by Swing Min lightly groaning as he attempts to stand up. Geez, what time even is it? Definitely past midnight at this point. And he just came from work? As just another wage slave, you can't help but feel bad for him. Sure, he might be living in the nice apartment, and you would lie if you said you didn't feel a twinge of jealousy. What even is the point of having it if you just come here to sleep? This newfound sense of camaraderie fills you with enough sympathy to want to help the man in front of you. All right, come on, I'll give you a hand. Huh? You know, a hand. Just don't bite it, okay? I know you're hungry and all that, but I am not food. I remember that. Stretch your hand towards collapsed Swen Min as he dumbfoundedly looks back at you. Finally, he grabs it with his and heavily gets up. There we go. Okay, you go shower now and I'll make something for you in the meantime. What? Are you sure? Yeah, I am. For once. But you seriously better go before you stink up the place or I change my mind. Alright, okay. Before you can say anything else, Swang Min clings to the wall for support as he walks away, vanishing into the bathroom. Well, that's that. Time to cook now, I suppose. For a second, you wonder if you should put Swang Min's Queen of the Kitchen apron on, but quickly decide against it. That thing has probably seen more blood than your blood vessels have in your entire life. You immediately start checking the drawers and cupboards in search of ingredients. You and Swing Min haven't really divided the kitchen space, but since you don't have a lot of things anyways, you took the liberty of picking an empty one and stored most of your things in there. As you go through the cupboards, you quickly realize that apart from condiments and instant ramen, there's nothing of nutritional value. In fact, most cupboards designed for food are just filled to the brim with nothing but cup ramen. What the? You already felt bad for him before that, but now you feel really bad. You feel so bad, in fact, that you check your own cupboard to see if you can make anything with your stuff instead. Unfortunately, it happens to be the day when you ran out of almost everything, and beside a sad handful of oatmeal staring back at you from the bottom of a jar, there's nothing you could turn into a substantial meal. Defeated, you return to the cup ramen hoard raining on the shelves. Cup ramen it is, I guess. Pick a random pork-flavored package and start cooking. Cooking time! I love minigames in like dating sims. I got an item. It's ramen. All done, I suppose. You try to squeeze out a smile as a sign of pride in your work, but no amount of grinning can make this sad excuse for a meal any better. All of a sudden, an idea pops in your head. An idea that's so foreign to your morals that you wonder if you started going insane cooking that cup ramen. I mean, he's a cannibal, so what if you made some human meat for him to go together with ramen? You don't even have to look in the freezer to know that he has containers full of human meat down there. If anything, you're grateful that he at least doesn't store it in the fridge. In fact, he doesn't store anything in the fridge at all. His side is always empty and yours just has some occasional milk and eggs here and there. Don't tell me he's just been surviving off instant ramen and human meat. Well, it's not really time to contemplate about Swin Min's dietary choices at the moment. He'll probably be out of the shower soon. You have to decide. I'm gonna cook him human meat. Blech. Blech. Well, he is a cannibal. It would only be natural to cook some human meat for him, right? You swallow as you open the freezer, cold air pouring out of it as some sort of evil premonition. It's just chicken, or pork, or fish. You try to convince yourself that what you will be cooking is anything but human meat as you reach for one of the freezer compartments. When you finally find enough courage to open it, it surprisingly turns out to be nearly empty. There's just one lonely container lying at the bottom. Honestly, it's not anything like you expected it to be. No gouged out eyes, no jars with human teeth, nothing grotesque, just one small container. For some reason, just the sight of it calms you down enough for you to simply pick the little plastic box up and shut the freezer without a second thought. You then absent-mindedly take out a pan and start the typical process of frying meat. Heat the pan up, pour some oil. By the time you are supposed to put the meat on the pan, you've relaxed enough that you can easily do it, thankfully. Swing Min has already pre-cut it into thin slices, leaving you with the easy part of the job. After a couple of minutes of spacing out in front of the stove, a familiar smell brings you back to reality. Pork. It smells just like pork. Did you really manage to convince yourself that it's pork after all? What in the... Hey. What the... What is that t-shirt choice? Swing Min. Yes. Are you pregnant? No. Have you ever been pregnant? No. Have you ever impregnated anyone? No, I haven't. What's with these questions? Never mind. Anyways. Something smells really good. Yes. I couldn't find anything, so I made some cup ramen, and I'm frying some human meat. Swing Min raises an eyebrow for a second before he takes a step towards you. He gets so close that you can practically feel his breath on your face. So close, in fact, that you catch a whiff of artificial peach weaving from his pale skin. Instinctively, you take a step back. Is he not happy? You're burning it. Oh, wait, you're right. Can you fetch my glasses from the bathroom, please? I'll take over the cooking. Yes, sure. Appreciate it. You see his little fangs? He got little... You quickly make your way to the hallway. In a way, it almost feels like a dream. Or a nightmare. Regardless, you're just happy that you're not the one frying in that pan. Sighing, you step into the bathroom. Searching time for his glasses. I got glasses. You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? And you successfully get Swing Min's glasses and return to the kitchen. You find him already sitting at the bar table, the food ready in front of him. You hand Swing Min the glasses, his cold, bony fingers brushing against yours as he takes them. Thank you. The man gratefully nods to you, and a bit hesitantly grabs a stool and sits on the opposite side of him. Oh, and you, a bit hesitantly, grab a stool and sit on the opposite side of him. He's so handsome. You assume that Swing Min will start talking first, but unsurprisingly, he continues eating, completely ignoring your presence. Seems like you'll have to be the one to start the conversation. Why do you need a housemate? Hey, Swing Min? Why do you need a housemate? He's not preserving you, so he can eat you later, is he? Money. Oh. It's getting expensive to live in general, and I'm still paying off my mortgage for the apartment. And that room you're in was empty and not getting any usage anyways. Seems that even cannibals have human worries like this, huh? You spend the next few moments in silence as Swing Min finishes his food, and you, absorbed in your own little world, stare out of the window at the sky drowning in the darkness. The whole situation almost seems funny to you. Just a few weeks ago, you had nowhere to go and had to look for a place to spend the night at every single day. But now you're here, sitting in this clean, cozy kitchen, with a cannibal eating human meat by your side. What a freak. Human meat that you prepared for him, you little freak. Nevertheless, you can't help but admit that you'd much rather prefer this bloodthirsty cannibal's company to your homeless life. What a cursed world we live in, huh? Hey, Rose. Huh? Thanks for the meal. Yes, of course. You know, it's been a long time since someone made me a meal. Instead of me making a meal out of them. Is that his attempt at humor? I can't remember the last time that I had a living company over. Being a cog in the capitalist machine does that to you, though. It kills your social life. Sometimes I think that the dead enjoy my company more than the living do. What I'm trying to say is thank you for spending time with me. Well, I will probably head to bed after doing the dishes. While there's still time to sleep. You should probably do the same, though. Sorry for waking you up. How did you... You already have that puffy morning face. Well, at least he's honest. But he's also right. You almost started falling back asleep while sitting with him. You'd rather upkeep your sleeping schedule if you want to get a second job. That wasn't an insult, by the way. It's kind of cute, actually. Did his stomach just rumble? You should probably get out of here before you ask for seconds. Well, I'll leave you to it then. Good night, swingman. Good night, Rose. Sweet dreams. With that, you go back to your room and quickly find yourself falling asleep in the warm embrace of your bed. Nice. Another art. The next day, you can't help but mentally go back to your encounter with Swing Min. You feel that he is kind of charming. I'm a little interested. You can't lie. There's something about him. It's the glasses and the hair. Something that strangely attracts you. And the fangs. I love fangs. Despite him being a cannibal and a murderer. The cannibal part's iwi. That fact almost makes you feel ashamed. So is the murder part. The cannibal part's even worse. You don't let it fully get to you, though, as your gratitude for the housing opportunity is far bigger than your sense of shame. The previous night only ignited your morbid attraction towards him even more, too. You wonder why. You spend the whole day thinking about it and don't notice how quickly it passes. In the end, you go to bed completely exhausted after another day of hard work. Seriously? Again? Hasn't even been a full day, for God's sakes. This time, you don't even waste time sitting around. Immediately get up and swing your door open as you step into the hallway. You stop in your tracks almost momentarily. The hallway turns out to be empty. And there are sounds of water coming from the bathroom. Swingman is probably showering there. Then what was that noise? Surely you're not going insane yet, are you? You hesitantly start walking forward before you notice something around the corner that was not there before. Something red. Ah, it's just a corpse. Wait, a corpse? Seems like you've somehow jinxed it yesterday. Based on the amount of meat you saw in the freezer, or rather, lack thereof, you guess that Swing Min has probably decided to restock. Jeez, this one looks really rough. Why would he need to tie it up, though? Excuse me? Please. What the? Alrighty. Okay. Seems like this corpse is not so dead. Please, spare me. I haven't done anything. Right. What are you supposed to do now? A terrified woman stares at you with desperate plea in her eyes, her arms and legs both tied with layers of thick rope. Definitely not something you expected or were ready to deal with when you were leaving your room. You mentally curse at Swing Min. You're not going to hurt me, are you? No. I'm not with that guy. Jesus, this woman looks petrified. Well, no wonder. She's practically head to toe covered in blood. But this is really awkward. She's just a poor, innocent person with an insane lack of luck, and you know her fate better than anyone. But do you really have any right to intervene? Then please, will you help me? Instead of responding, you just rub the back of your neck, feeling conflicted about what to do. At the sight of that woman's face sinks in growing hopelessness. What's your name? It's Rose. I'm Alicia. I'd say nice to meet you, but this is probably not the best time for that, huh? Yeah. God, he's so scary. I was just walking down the alley from work, and then he jumped out of nowhere. I mean, look at all this blood. He did all of this to me. God, I don't even know what's going to happen to me. What did I do to deserve this? He's keeping you a prisoner here, isn't he? Well, you wouldn't exactly say it that way. Come on, 2 people are stronger than 1. I'm sure that if we act together, we can easily overpower him. I promise that no harm will come your way. I might not look it, but I'm quite agile, you know? Well, you really don't want to risk being the one getting eaten instead. Oh, come on, don't you see that I'm scared? Oh, yes. Yes, you can. Rose, please. I really don't want to die. We're not saving her, 'cause we'll get eaten. Nah, I'm good. You're on your own. Instead of fear, Alicia's face contorts with rage at your refusal. How dare you? How dare you refuse me? Do you even know who I am? You insignificant, stupid. Her yelling seems to attract attention because a freshly showered Swing Min creeps up from the bathroom. Slowly, he slinks up behind Alicia as he reaches for the light switch. The sound effects. Swingman stands victorious over Alicia's now battered corpse, though you doubt she had any chance in the first place, being tied up and all. This made me hungry. Good thing I brought home takeout. At first, his remark confuses you until you glance down towards Alicia. That's definitely one way to call her corpse. Hey, Rose. You nervously look up at him. He doesn't want to make you into a home-cooked meal now, does he? What you made yesterday was decent, and your company was quite energizing. So I was thinking, maybe we could cook together? We could share it, too. Well, that's definitely out of character. On one hand, you kind of feel too afraid to agree. On the other hand, you feel too afraid to say no. But hey, who knows? Maybe it'll be a good bonding opportunity. And no more killings will happen. Yes. Right. We're gonna save. We're gonna help, I guess? Well, it's not like Alicia was your friend or something. I would throw up. I do not handle any kind of gore well. You have no qualms about helping Swingman cook her. At this point, you've already done far worse than cooking a person. Plus, being on good terms with Swingman, who is very much alive compared to Alicia, seems way more important right now. Sure, sounds delightful. Kind of a professional chef, though, so stand back. Well, you're definitely not bad. Though you should get more practice cooking meat of the human variety. Well, seems like this is your chance to do so. Ugh. Swingman takes his bloody apron off after carrying Alicia into the kitchen. It doesn't help make him look any less scary, though, as his exposed skin is practically drenched in her blood. Okay, boss, what are we cooking? Human by chance, alpha by choice. Well, I was thinking of making curry. Oh, so you can make something beside instant ramen. I actually enjoy cooking quite a bit. It's a hobby, of sorts. If I didn't have to work this much, I'd probably spend more time indulging in that hobby. Wait, wouldn't that mean he would kill more people? Without beating around the bush, Swingman promptly puts you to work at the cutting board. Meanwhile, he starts cooking rice and cleaning the remains of Alicia off himself. Well, time to get chopping. Ugh. My tummy hurts. Yeah! I beat up a carrot. Turning my stomach right now. Once you're both done with cooking, Swingman takes out a second plate and looks at you questioningly. It seems like your landlord is inviting you to join him for a meal. A cannibal meal. I don't want to be a cannibal. Is that going to ruin our relationship? I don't know, but I already ate earlier, so I'm still full. It's one thing to cook a human and another thing to eat it. And you're not about to become a cannibal buddy for your housemate. Are you sure? I don't want to hurt his feelings. Yeah, we'll eat the human meat. It's fine. Yeah, it's great. Ugh. Ugh. So gross. Okay. Well, you've already helped him cook human meat. Might as well try the fruits of your life. Okay. You nod at Swingman, and he fills the plate with freshly made curry. I hate curry, too. Ugh. Ugh. I'm actually really grossed out, and I'm trying not to be, but like I have tears in my eyes right now. Look down towards the fresh bowl of curry. The warm aroma from the piping dish is alluring. What if I just threw up? What if I just throw up right now? Okay. It has a deliciously spiced scent that dances across the kitchen, lingering delicately in the air. Various seasonings in the dish create a romantic, hot and heavy, yet sweet mouth-watering vagrance that you can practically taste. The human meat you cooked really adds some pizzazz to the whole thing. Pizzazz, right. Ugh. You nearly forgot this curry's topped up with a nice serving of Alicia. You feel a little guilty that she smells so good. He's so handsome, though. You both take the same seats as yesterday, and you can't help but feel a sense of deja vu. Well, partially because you did do the exact same thing the day before. This seems like a good opportunity to get to know Swingman a little better, though. What's up with your wardrobe? Swingman? What's up with your wardrobe, huh? What do you mean? Well, you know, your t-shirts and stuff. What about them? The phrases on them. Huh? You know, what? Never mind. No, you can't keep looking at it. You have to do something about it. Actually, do you want to go shopping together at some point? I need some new clothes anyways. Well, I don't necessarily see why I need any new clothes. But maybe a couple of new t-shirts could be nice. Score. Alright, it's a promise then. Swingman just nods in agreement. Hopefully you won't have to look at this again in the future. And it seems like you might have just scored a date with a cannibal. As the conversation slows into comfortable silence, Swingman begins to eat. Staring down at your own bowl, you find yourself hesitating. Are you guilty? Ashamed? Mortified at the choices you made to get yourself to this point? You should be. You know logically that you should feel all of these things, but fuck, you really made some killer curry. Before you know it, a spoonful of steamy curry is already in your mouth. Why are they making me read all of this? So gross. The mix of carrots, onions, and meat is devilishly delicious. Your brow twitches. Shouldn't you be disgusted by this? I am. I like my mouth is drooling because I'm trying not to throw up. Wouldn't a normal, regular person be disgusted by this? I guess I'm normal, thank God. Maybe you're not regular. Maybe there are two sides of you fighting for dominance. A devil and an angle. Or was it angler? Antler? Doesn't matter. This food is kickin', and you're the pro chef behind it. Not only do you enjoy this meal, but Swingman seems to be enjoying it too, you think. His neutral expression makes it difficult to read him. You count this as a win anyway. You know, it's my first time sharing this experience with someone else. I've never met anyone who heard me out after learning that I'm a cannibal. You were the first, Rose. Somehow you were not surprised. After all, it's not like there's some kind of cannibal cafe for him to mingle at, right? You can't help but feel kind of bad for the man in front of you. Being a cannibal is bound to be lonely, huh? Not to mention that it doesn't really seem like Swingmin has a lot of time to make friends otherwise. People are typically quick to judge me, even if they don't really know anything about me. They form their impressions of me without even getting to know me first. Isn't that like from Shrek? I feel like at some point I stopped trying. Stopped trying to care about what people think of me. What's the point if it's bound to end the same way anyways, right? But I care about what you think, Rose. I think your presence is really changing me. I'm really bad with words, but I appreciate you for trying to get to know me, Rose. It means a lot to me. And you mean... He fell asleep. Did he just fall asleep? He did. He ended up doing the dishes before attempting to lift Swingman up to take him to bed. He quickly regret the decision, though, as he turns out to be heavier than he looks. Of course he's heavier. A real dead weight, huh? In the end, you have to spend a few minutes trying to shake him awake before he finally sleepily opens his eyes. You help him get up and make sure he stays up as you assist him in getting to his bedroom. You even lead him all the way to the bed and carefully tuck him in, afraid that the man will collapse inches from it. Swingman's bedroom is kind of a pigsty, to put it nicely. It's surprising considering the state of the rest of the apartment. The shared spaces are always very tidy. You have no clue where he gets the energy to keep them clean, but you're thankful for it. It must be really taxing for him. Stepping over his unironed clothes strewn about the floor, you successfully guide Swingman to his unmade bed. Exhausted, he collapses against the sheets. You don't even get to say goodnight before the sound of his soft snoring fills the room. With the job well done, you retire to your own bedroom for the night. Nice. Double nice. Ugh. Became a cannibal. It isn't pork. You'd say the dinner goes pretty well. So well, in fact, that the two of you go on to have many more dinners together, spanning over weeks, then months, then a year. Surprisingly, Swingman turns out to be rather soft for a bloodthirsty cannibal. Before you know it, your relationship with him naturally progresses into something more romantic. The two of you officially become partners. You really let Swingman cook, and perhaps that's what set you on this path. This path towards destiny. Towards the day that Swingman proposes to you. You don't expect it, the abrupt nature of it all, when he slips the ring off on your dinner's finger and gets down on his knees. The ring isn't your size, but you know you could always get it adjusted later. Finally, all of your simping pays off. Of course, you accept. This is real fast. Your wedding takes place at the most classy location anyone dating cannibal could choose. The butcher counter at the local supermarket. All the meats and knives the eyes can see. Naturally, it's a breathtaking ceremony. Even the shoppers can't help but stop and stare in wonder. Or rather, in fear? No, they're probably just jealous of your supermarket wedding. Hand in hand to Swingmin, the two of you will have a very grotesque, disgusting, and gory future. Exactly the way you hoped it would be. Swingman has successfully rizzed you. Or was it you who rizzed him? Who cares? Congratulations on your marriage. My housemate. He didn't even fall off a cliff. Well. I'm so good at rizzing people on video games. Oh, that's credits. That's cute. What's this button do? Oh, there's other achievements. Okay, what's this one? Oh my god. I'm obsessed with this one. That one's crazy. That one goes hard. Well, that was my sweet housemate. That was definitely a game. Thank you guys so much for watching. And just remember, you know, if your roommate eats people, maybe don't do it with them. So gross. Alright, I love you guys. See you next video. Bye.